got another one of them. Popping at the mouth or the side of his neck when he pouts, no argument, no rebuttal from. He ain't from my town, I don't know him, so I'm guessing he's a clown.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. So in this piece, we're going to discuss both Aleister Black and the Intercontinental Championship Series, considering they're tied together now. Because I'm assuming everybody watched SmackDown. Aleister Black cost Big E the Intercontinental Championship. So, first, let's talk about Aleister Black, Tales from the Dark Father, Part 4, which apparently is going to be the last part. And then we're going to talk about the Intercontinental Championship match. And then the finish. And then thoughts about things going forward. All right, so Tales from the Dark Father, Part 4 was called Beautiful Pain. And he says, Aleister Black says, Father's lessons are etched on my body. In other words, his tattoos. His tattoos tell the story of Father's lessons. He says there's no lying in pain. In pain, there is nothing but the truth. And he says he wears an armor of agony. In other words, the tattoos hurt. And the lessons hurt. And he says, but what will we be without it? He said, will we keep our deepest, darkest sins, I guess, below the skin? He said, there's an art to cruelty. Art, tattoos, cruelty. Sometimes people say, oh, tattoos are cruel or they bleed. You know, even in the cartoons, they were kind of bloody. So in these creatures, the tattoos, blood is full of cruel thoughts and dreams, right? It says, you live proudly in your cesspool of sins and denial, which has become your identity. You are loathsome and blind. You are sick and dying animals. It is time to cull the herd. So, culling the herd is, of course, a reference to pack animals, cattle. You know, when you have an abundance of cows, you cull the herd. You cut down the number of them. So, so we're trying to put all this thing together. It's, you know, it's supposed to be one big story. And it all begins with things that his father told him, you know, his experiences with his father taking him to trips and everything. Then he found out that, you know, all of our wants and desires, as far as the white picket fence and the American dream and all those sorts of things, they were phony. And that people weren't willing to really fight for what they want, for what they believe. And now we're told, like, his father's lessons, all of the things that he's told us so far, they're all etched all over his body. So he told us who he was over the last 4 weeks. So the dragon, you know, a man who's willing to fight for, you know, who and what his place in the world. You know, he's fight for greatness, you know, fight for prominence, to really feel like he's properly earned it. And in this thing, he's talking about pain, the importance of pain. And that's very interesting, but I don't see how any of this ties to Big E. Maybe I'm not seeing, maybe it's something I'm not seeing. But we'll double back to it. So each competitor in the fatal 4-way match for the Intercontinental title got to speak. Essentially they were all pretty benign kind of promos. You know, a bunch of I'm going to win because, you know, but Apollo Crews, of course, I don't have to win the Intercontinental Championship. I could lose it without being pinned or submitted. That is unfair to me and my ancestors. My title. And Kevin Owens says for the first 2 years he was the prize fighter. And because he won more championships and he won championships, yada, yada. And he's going to go back to that. He's going to go back to being a prize fighter. And then Sami Zayn said he'll never forget the conspiracy that's been perpetrated against him, and that Caleb Braxton was trying to fill his head with negative thoughts by calling him a former Intercontinental Champion, instead of saying that he's going to be a future Intercontinental Champion. He continues to talk about the documentary, which they completely forgot about since WrestleMania. It hasn't been brought up. But they haven't forgot about it. So the documentary, I guess, is still coming. And so Big E, his promo was actually very good. I loved Big E's promo. And the reason why I loved it is because of how he set the stage, right? He says that he's going to be in the ring with dogs. And it was silly at first. But then he starts talking about how these guys are masters of their craft. All of them are future Hall of Famers, future world champions. And this is his opportunity to prove that he belongs. These guys, these other three men, are the iron to sharpen his iron. You know? So that's the situation now. Iron sharpening iron. If I remember correctly, that's a biblical statement, right? Iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel. And if we're going to go with Aleister Black versus Big E, are we going to do it from the perspective of they're going to do like a spiritual battle? You know, where, like I said, Aleister Black is a little bit more satanic, and Big E grew up in the Christian church. He has that preacher's like verbiage and approach gimmick and approach to the character. There could be some spirituality there that could be pretty cool. I'm really interested in where we're going with this. So the main event, the Fatal 4-Way match for the Intercontinental title, it started at around 9:30. So this match has some length to it. These guys went out there and had a banger. They had a pretty fucking good match. Of course, Commander Aziz helped a little bit when Apollo Crews seemed to be in trouble, like he was going to lose. And Commander Aziz pulled the leg to help him escape. Later, Big E comes out and he's like he's about to win again. And then half the arena is cut off. The lights are cut off. Just half the arena. They didn't go full AEW, didn't go full ECW and turn everything off. Just turned half the lights off. And from the smoke comes a hooded Aleister Black. He slides in the ring. Big E just kind of ignores him. Like, you know, like, we don't got nothing to talk about. And then he spin kicks Big E, Black Mass, knocks him clean out. Apollo Crews pins him. And, okay, now, you know, we're up to something here. Now we've got our thing, you know. So, first things first, Aleister Black's look. He's in better shape. He's not in, I heard that he was in like tremendous shape now. He looks to be slightly in better shape than he was before. Obviously, he wasn't sitting at home eating donuts, so he's not fat. The continuity of the character, because now he has the awkward eye, the blue eye. It wasn't there during the Dark Father segments. He didn't have the blue eye. But on SmackDown, he did. You know, so now he's got the blue eye, which, of course, is, if you remember, Seth Rollins jammed his eye into the steps. So that's what began his heel turn in the first place. So now we got the blue eye back. And he did not attack Kevin Owens, who was the last person he was feuding with. Instead, he attacked Big E. Now, it would make sense for him to attack Big E, considering Big E is, quote, the powerhouse of positivity. So that's something that we can look at as, you know, maybe one of the reasons why Aleister Black would attack him. That maybe Big E is, you know, represents something that he is against. You know, the kind of success that Big E wants, that the kind of success Big E desires, the material success. You know, chasing championships and stuff like that. But of course, it doesn't really stand because, you know, obviously he was just feuding with Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens also wanted to be the Intercontinental Champion. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see why he attacked Big E. But I did like the Tales from the Dark Father. I thought it was pretty cool. I think that it leaves the door open for him to tell individual stories about individual tattoos and what individual tattoos mean to him. And maybe he'll start having feuds based on his tattoos. And that may be sweet, because I think there was a TV show. There's a comic book, definitely, called Marked, where a young lady has, like, tattoos, and they like mystical or whatever. And there was a TV show, I think it was recent, where, you know, the young lady had tattoos and she was, you know, had no memory, and she had to, you know, use the tattoos to try to figure out who she really was. I don't remember the show being particularly any good, but I just remember the premise. And if you got somebody who's got tattoos and a mysterious background, it makes sense for you to use that. You know, use the roadmap of the tattoos all over his body to tell weeks and months and years of stories. You have that opportunity. You have the time. You have the commitment to either the character but you got to have the commitment to the character, obviously. But you got to have the commitment to the persona and everything. You know, hopefully they have it, and hopefully they got a good reason why Big E was the first target. Maybe it was random, but I don't think so. WWE doesn't have like random acts of violence anymore, which I miss. I miss like guys like attacking guys that they're not infused with for no apparent reason, just to do it because they're assholes. Like it would be that would have been nice, but I doubt that's the case. So they're gonna probably drum up something. We'll see. But let me know what you guys think. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later, man. Donate if you can. And I'll talk to you guys down the road.